The BMW M5 E60, the fastest sedan of its time, but was the sheer power of the V10 engine really worth it? In this video, we're gonna go into full detail about the BMW M5 E60. So like always, at first, let's talk about engines. The lesser models of the BMW M5 or the 5 Series was equipped with the inline 6 engine. But in this video, we're gonna be talking about the E60 version, which was equipped with the glorious S85 V10. The S85 was a 5-liter V10 engine with 507 horsepower and 384 foot-pounds of torque. This morning my throat was very sore and now it's better. That's why my voice has changed. Anyways, the S85 engine had 10 individual throttle bodies and it also had 4 valves on each cylinder. We'll talk about the engine more later in the video. And as for the transmission, the BMW M5 E60 used the 7-speed SMG transmission, which came in manual and automatic, but the manual transmissions were only available in the US market. Also, the manual transmission was a 6-speed, not a 7-speed like the automatic transmission. The E60 also only delivered power to the rear wheels, so it was only available in rear-wheel drive, which is a really good decision in my opinion, because rear-wheel drive cars are much more better for handling. The E60's weight started from 4,090 pounds to 4,310 pounds. 0 to 60 was 4.7 seconds and 0 to 200 was 13.9 seconds. The mile per gallon for the E60 was 16 mile per gallon in cities and 19 mile per gallon on highways. But if you buy a V10, any V10, you shouldn't be worrying about gas, because we all know that a V10 will always be bad on gas. The Nürburgring lap record for the E60 was 7 minutes and 52 seconds. The price for the M5 E60 in 2005 was between 80k to 100k, but from 2015 to 2020, the E60's price was very low. It came close to 15k. For a V10, that price was very cheap. But now, because of TikTok and with the power of social media, the E60 is now priced over 40k. Even if it's not brand new, even if it's a beat up E60, you won't get one for less than 35k. If you want a clean E60, you have to pay above 40k. One other thing about the E60, or let's say the E61, because the BMW 5 Series in the 2005 model for the E60 had 2 versions, the sedan and the touring one. During the E60's 5-year production run, 20,589 units were made. The sedans were 19,564 and the tourings were 1,025. The top speed of this car was electronically limited to 305 km per hour, but the speedometer can go to 330 km per hour. Now on the exterior, to me the M5 E60 looks way better than the new M5 in 2024. The exterior of the car was very futuristic for its time. It looks like it was made in 2015. It doesn't look like a 2-decade-old car. And people compared the headlights to a woman's eye. So overall, the back, the front, the sides, and the size of the E60 was very good and nice. It was a 4-door, it was big, it drove comfortable, it looked really nice on the outside, it looked mean. Overall, the outside was very nice. What even makes the E60 on the exterior even more special in this time, in 2024, is that when you see the new M5s, the new BMW styles, the new exterior on them, the M5 E60 in 2005, it's a gem in the BMW 5 Series. Some of the things that has changed from the regular version and the E60 version was that there were many M-Power badges around the car, the front, the sides and the back, and the front bumper changed and some other minor stuff. On the interior, the M5 E60 didn't have the best looking interior. Overall, I don't really like the BMW interiors, but that's just my opinion. It had normal needle gauge clusters. It came with leather seats, but one of the things about the leather seats is that there's little holes in them, and over a short periods of time, the leather with the little holes in it cracked. It wasn't very long lasting. The E60 was paired with the iDrive system, which many people didn't really like, especially Jeremy Clarkson.
I'll turn this up. There's the volume knob. I'll push it. It's gone. And now I've got a fat bint in a tent warbling. So you have to go into the computer, entertainment, FM or AM. Who listens to the Light program? Who?
And we come to the cup holders. The M5's cup holders, the E60 and the regular version, the cup holders were just too flimsy, they never worked, it just wasn't meant to be used. They have really bad cup holders.
Well, there's one here for the passenger, which doesn't seem to actually operate that well anymore. Come on, there we go. So you put your cup in there. And here's the one for the driver. Look, come on. It's an old car.
The E60 had a normal shifter and had a lot of technology infused in the interior of the car, and the back seat had a fair amount of space. The E60 is also luxurious because in 2005 they had all the features that the cars today have, like power windows, powered seats, and all the other electrical minor stuff. And that rounds up all the exterior, interior, and the description of the M5 E60. And now we'll talk about the engine and the transmission and the M mode. The S85 engine had two major problems. One of them was the rod bearings and the other was the throttle actuator. The first one, the rod bearings, the issue with them was that they would turn. And what caused this was that because of the very high RPM of the E60, which is 8,250, because of this high RPM in the tracks or in maintaining high speeds and high RPMs, the oil in the engine would make bubbles. And those bubbles wouldn't let the oil go to the rod bearings as it should go, so it was making a lot of friction, and with the friction between metal and metal, things would easily go wrong with the E60 engine. That was one of the reasons that the E60 was not reliable, and it was also a reason that the E60 was faulty from factory. And also a piece of information that people has taken wrongly is that the S85 engine has no connection with Formula 1 technology. At the time of the making of the E60, BMW was studying Formula 1, but the V10 in the E60 doesn't have any connection with Formula 1 technology. It is just that the block of the engine came from the same factory as the block for the Formula 1 cars. The second thing about the E60 that makes it unreliable or faulty from factory is the throttle actuator, which is actually a design flaw. It's not the fault of the owner or how he drives the car. It's just a design flaw from factory. Now these two issues are the main issues. The E60 has many other problems that the owners might face, but it's not as major as these two problems, because these two problems are very common in most of the E60s. Other than these two problems with the S85 engine, the S85 engine is a really good sounding engine, first of all. And second of all, it's a very powerful engine which can go with very pricey supercars and beat them. Because of the top speed and of the handling of the E60, which is a car from 2005 with a V10 engine, a sedan with a V10 engine. That makes it really special. Now this engine, if it didn't have these two problems, it would really be a masterpiece, in my opinion. Another issue that the E60 had was the transmission. The SMG transmission on the E60 was one of the worst transmissions ever put in a BMW. What was wrong with this gearbox was that people didn't like how it reacted or how it worked, and the response between gear changes, the SMG transmission had a really big pause, and when the clutch engaged, it feels like you're breaking something.
That is so hard.
It's uncomfortable, the gearbox does not work how you want it to work, especially at low speeds, and it wasn't very reliable. The SMG transmission had 5 modes, and in these 5 modes, the normal one was the worst one. But the M mode wasn't that bad, because in N mode, the transmission would finally pair up with 507 horsepower and can live up to its full potential and shift at very high RPMs, which in these high RPMs, the transmission didn't make the loud pause and the shifts were smoother. Now, if anything with the engine or the transmission or anything else on the E60 would go wrong, it's not a very big problem. It's fixable, other than the rod bearings, which are not very fixable. If the rod bearings are very bad, you have to throw the engine away. But anyways, the problem is that these fixes are very expensive. So other than that, the E60, the engine and the transmission are a good pair in the M mode, not in the normal driving modes, because the car is made to go fast. As we said, the gearbox had 5 modes. What changed in these modes was for how you want the gears to change. You had a mode for every way you wanted the gears to change, and there was 3 settings for the differential, and there was 2 settings for the suspension.
The E60 normally, when you start it up, it's 400 horsepower. But when you put the E60 in M mode, it goes up to 507 horsepower. And the gearbox goes into M mode as well, which makes the shifts very quicker and there's no delay in between. And also, in the M mode, the sides of the driver's seat goes forward and hugs the driver from behind, so it becomes more like a bucket seat.
And this was all the information that I could obtain for the BMW M5 E60. I'm not a very big fan of BMWs, but that doesn't mean that I hate them, especially in this day and age, because many of the new cars are very big disappointments. So when you look at the E60 among these new cars and among the 5 Series, it's a really nice, good looking car. But the car internally, engine and transmission, and reliability, it's not very good. And even without comparison, the E60 is a very powerful, full-size sedan with a good looking exterior and a fun engine and transmission under the hood. If only the engine and the transmission were more reliable and they put in a bare transmission that is already good, would have been much better. Even with the E60 not being reliable, this car still holds a very special place in many people's hearts. And I know we all have that special place for a car, or even for a couple cars. Even if a car is not reliable or is not good looking to others, to you it looks the best and it drives the best. Now I believe the A60 is one of those cars, but if you're looking for a high powered sedan and you're looking to have fun with it, the A60 might not be the best option. See ya.